Hey guys, this video will go over adding and subtracting fractions. Whenever you do that, we do have to find a common denominator. So let's work a problem. You have 11/10 plus 5/8. Because these denominators are not the same, remember denominators are these bottom numbers. Because they're not the same, we can't just add them. We have to make sure that they are the same. So to do that, we need to find a common denominator. The easiest way to do that is to think about all of the factors. Well, not factors, I'm sorry. Multiples of those numbers and find the least common multiple. So if we deal with the eights, so we have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, and of course they keep going on and on. And then for 10, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So what we need to do is from these multiples, what's the lowest one that is common for both numbers? So if you look, 40 is the lowest common multiple or the least common multiple. So that's going to be our denominator. This top one, this top 40 is made by saying 8 times 5. And then the bottom one is made by saying 10 times 4. So we need to keep that in mind because we need to multiply both the top and the bottom, numerator and denominator, of the fraction in order to get to that number. So let me change these colors so that I can make them match. So our 8 times 5 means we're going to have to multiply this whole thing, both the top and the bottom, by 5 because we already have the 8 on the bottom. So we need to multiply both the top and the bottom by 5. And then this one, we already have the 10 on the bottom, so we have to multiply the top and the bottom by 4. So 4 on the top and the bottom times 11/10. 5 on the top and the bottom times 5/8. And what this will do, we'll put 40 on the bottom of both of them, and then we can actually add them together. So 4 times 11 is 44. And then 4 times 10 is 40. So this is we're focusing on just this right here. That's what we just did. Then we need to add, but then multiply these guys together. So 5 times 5 is 25, and 5 times 8 is 40. So that one became this one. Now we can actually add those together. So whenever we do that, we add the top numbers together, and the denominator just stays the same. So our answer, we add 44 and 25, and that gives us 69 over 40. And we're done with that problem. Sometimes we will have to reduce answers, and I will show you that with our next problem. So number 2, let's do 10/4 plus 4/5. Okay, so we have a 4 and a 5. So let's list those multiples. My 4s are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and 24. And then our multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Our least common multiple for both of them is 20. They both have 20. It's the very first one that they have in common. All right, our top one, Our original denominator is 5. What did we multiply 5 by to get 20? Well, we multiplied by 4, which means we're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by 4. It is just a coincidence, by the way, that these are the same. That doesn't always happen. That just happens to be a coincidence for this problem. So please don't make that leap that you're supposed to multiply the denominator by the numerator. This is just a coincidence. All right, the pink denominator is 4, and to get to 20, we multiply that times 5. So we're going to multiply both of these times 5. So 10 times 5 is 50. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 4 is 20. So now we have our common denominator, and we just add our numerators. So 50 plus 16 is 66, and our denominator is 20. A big key for this is that both of these numbers are even. So a 2 can go into both. So we need to reduce it. Just like you would never write 2/4, it would be a half, because 2 is half of 4. So it's always going to be a half. We got to reduce this guy as well. So since they're both even numbers, divide by 2. 66 divided by 2 is 33. And 20 divided by 2 is 10. Now this is the complete reduced form. Our next problem, now we're going to focus on subtraction. It's still going to be done the same way. The only time it'll change is at this step here. So instead of adding, you're going to subtract them. But otherwise, it's going to be the same. So let's do 9/4 minus 11/10. Again, let's list all of the multiples so we can find the least common multiple. So we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and 24. And then for our denominator, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Our lowest multiple that they have in common is 20. Our top are multiples of 4. So what did we multiply 4 by to get 20? We multiply by 5. Our bottom ones are multiples of 10. What did we multiply 10 by to get 20? We multiplied it by 2. So these are 5s, and these are 2s. So now we do 9 times 5, which is 45, and 4 times 5 is 20. 11 times 2 is 22, and 10 times 2 is 20. So now we have our common denominator. They're both 20, which is what we need. And we're going to subtract our numerators. 45 minus 22 is 23 over 20. The denominator will not change once you've gotten your common denominator. And our last problem we're going to do for these examples, 6 over 4 minus 11 over 9. So again, our multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. We have multiples of 9, and that's 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. And I could keep going on the 9s, but I've already found my least common multiple. We have 36 in common for both. And as you become better at this, you will not have to list all of these multiples. I'm just doing it so that you see how to approach it. And you can do these absolutely in your head. This is just, I'm listing it so that y'all can see kind of the long way. So the top one are multiples of 4. What do we multiply 4 by to get 36? And that would be 9. So we want to multiply both the top and the bottom by 9. The bottom number are multiples of 9s. What do we multiply 9 by to get 36? We multiplied by 4, so that means both of these will be 4s. So 6 times 9 is 54. And 4 times 9 is 36. 11 times 4 is 44. And then 9 times 4 is 36. So now we have our common denominator, and that denominator will always stay the same until we need to reduce if we need to. So our common denominator is 36, and we subtract 54 minus 44. This gives me 10 over 36. At this point, you can see that they're both even, so we need to reduce to get our reduced form fraction. So 2 will go into both, divide both the top and the bottom by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 36 divided by 2 is 18. And now we have our final answer.